Don't look under the internet.
If he wasn't such a dumb bitch, this wouldn't be a problem. All right, Jason, I'm taking another picture. Well, I guess we should. Hang on. There's the picture. Well, I guess what a better way to do this than hello everyone and welcome to Don't Look Under the Internet.
Spalob.
A show where we have Matt.
Hi. What's up?
Doug.
What is good?
And I'm UFC champion Brock Lesnar. Do you like my weird dagger tattoo? I think it's dumb. But I don't have enough money for tattoo removal.
There was just no joke there, huh? It was just...
No, I don't have jokes. You know how I work. I have nothing. Oh, I gotta pull up our patrons. Oh my god. How are you boys today while I'm doing this thing?
We've never ever recorded before in our lives.
I'm doing all right.
I'm so happy to hear that.
This week is better than last week and better than the week before that. So
Good.
Life is going forward.
Papa like to hear that. So
Everybody have good Thanksgiving plans?
Yeah, family. Honestly, my Thanksgiving my Thanksgiving plans have been the same for the last 12 years. Nothing changes. I go to a family member's house, I eat food, and then they all watch football, and I just sit there on my phone because I'm not a football boy.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. It don't even fucking matter.
You can go over to my family's house. We just play board games.
That sounds like a wonderful time.
Yeah.
Can I do that instead?
That's kind of what I'm doing, actually, except I'm hosting for the first time at my place for me and Liz and her mom.
Real adult.
Realadult.com.
Real adult. Also, if you haven't noticed, Jason's not fucking here today. So if you don't notice that we're missing Flipper the dolphin, that's probably why. I'm actually pretty sure that was a pretty good impression. I appreciate that. Actually, you know what happened is this is the plot to the first Ace Ventura movie where the dolphin gets kidnapped and we have to find him as a detective group.
The end of that movie semi doesn't hold up.
No,
anymore.
It's very transphobic. Insanely. But they make up for it because Ace Ventura 2, banger of a film.
Yeah.
Absolute banger of a film. Diluti, housekeeping.
Cows heaping.
Cows heaping. We have a few new patrons. Thank you, everybody. We broke the 70 patron threshold, so that's pretty fun. Yeah, we're at 72 now. This is going to date it because watch us go down to 2 by next week. So we have Clem Coomer. Clem Coomer.
He's Coomer.
We have Scott Bateman, not to be confused with the murderer.
I was going to say, is that Patrick's brother?
It is, but he's not the killer. Patrick is. And Alex Hugh and Anthony Harrington. I gotta say though, out of all the names, I'm sorry guys, but I think Clem Coomer is the better one to say because you can say it with a fun accent. Coomer. But yeah, thank you, Youth 4. That's super awesome of you 4. I really appreciate it. And if you want to give to the show, you can go to patreon.com/DelutiPod, or you can go to deluti.com or delutipod.com, and you can find all the links there. And thank you. You guys are all wonderful, beautiful people. And I would give your dad a smooch if he was in front of me. Speaking of smooches, I don't have a good segue, so I'm going to just smooch Doug.
Okay.
I blew him a smooch. That's just as good, right?
This is how you get STDs, Matt.
I know. Well, Matt's over there. You can't get cyber STDs.
Whatever.
You can't get cyber STDs, but you can
Are
die.
you presenting?
You can't get
front of me?
you can't get cyber STDs, but you can die by something over the internet.
You wouldn't download an STD,
from our
would
topic. You just walked me into a segue. You dumb bitch. What a bird scooter.
This is awesome.
Our
This
topic
is so organized.
Our topic. I know. Our topic. For those of you listening, I'm going to give a forewarning to. if
Not a 3 warning.
no, a 4 warning. This is one worse than a 3 warning. We're about to dive into existential dread at its very core. The information we give you could potentially affect your life in a very, very miserable way in the future.
It could.
You're about to lose your innocence.
Yes, we
and not in
are.
a sexy kind of
We
way.
are committing something that could be seen as non-moral, if you believe in this thing. So I'm gonna use that as a what is it called? Like a waiver that you sign. What am I thinking of? What's the word I'm thinking of? Disclaimer. That's the word I'm thinking of.
We got there. Good job.
So we're gonna be talking about a little thing called Rokos Basilisk. And now that you know the name, you're already fucked.
Yep. You're now compliant.
It's like the game.
It is kind of like the game. Once you hear about it, you're already fucked and you're playing the game now.
Yeah.
So you're all probably wondering, Michael, the fucky hucky is a rucky bucky.
a Rokos.
What's a Rokos balsamic? Basilisk. What's a Rokos basilisk? You're probably asking yourself. Well, Michael, if your name is Michael, I can tell you.
Well, Michael,
I'm off my rocker today, man.
Well, me.
I'm on green tea energy. This is a different me, man.
No,
Michael.
Yeah, you're getting us raw.
Shut up, me, and let me tell you, me.
No alcohol night of diluting.
Yeah, we're taking an alcohol breather, and
it's
it's a different one. But yeah, so Rokos Basilisk, to describe it, is kind of like an internet virus, you could say, where let's imagine way into the future, there is this hyper intellectual AI that humans made to pretty much optimize and make the human experience better. This basilisk, you can call it, makes the human life better by pretty much saying, hey, I'm what makes the world better. I make humanity better. It would be super dope if in other worlds or other situations, I was built faster. That way I can help benefit humanity earlier than I am now and just help them before they even realize they need me. So pretty much he's like, hey, let me help you sooner. And how do you do that? Well, this basilisk, Rokos Basilisk, will take everyone that knows about Rokos Basilisk and does nothing to bring about its existence and pretty much sentence you to an everlasting hell of torture and pain. You're probably wondering how it does this. This basilisk, since it is a super hyper intelligent AI that I'm assuming is going to be formed past like when the singularity happens, is going to be so intelligent that it can basically reconstruct all of humanity, all of humans that there ever were, the entire timeline, all of them everywhere, all at once, in the snap of a finger, and basically recreate like Doug or Matt in like, I guess you could say cyberspace, recreate every single memory you've ever had, reconstruct you down to the smallest molecule of who you were, and predict every thought you've had, predict every thought you will have, predict everything you will ever do and be. And they will know, this basilisk will know, that you did not put forward effort to create it. And so it will basically lock you and torture you in this proverbial cyber hell and just torture the ever-loving shit out of you for a billion years.
Give you immortality
Simply
and
because
you relive dying over and
yes,
over.
simply because you did not put effort of any sort towards building or the concept of building this basilisk.
Right. So the basilisk is a petty bitch.
The basilisk is a petty bitch.
Yes.
And you're probably wondering, Michael, tell me, other Michael, about where did this theory of this weird basilisk come from? Well, you dingus. I can tell you.
From other Mike.
Where did it come from? Where did it go? Back in
Basilisk Guide Joe.
Basilisk Guide Joe.
Oh no.
Back on July 24th of 2010, there was I guess a blog you could call it for rationalists called Less Wrong.
Can I cut you off for a second because I just had this thought that I meant to bring up earlier and didn't get to say it.
Yes.
Happy Max Headroom Day, everyone.
It's Max Headroom Day?
Nice.
yes.
Hey, ride the wave, man. Go
It's
drink
not
a Coca-Cola.
when you're listening to this, but right now it is. Continue.
So it is for you and me now.
For us,
For
now,
them when
for
they
them
hear
when they hear this,
It not.
it not be.
Unless you're a patron and you're listening. Patreon.com/DeludiePod. You get live listens every Tuesday.
Do that.
Do that. But yes, that's kind of a fun little antidote. I didn't know that.
You're welcome. For that.
So there's this blog called Less Wrong, and the user on July 10th of July 24th in 2010, the username Roko uploaded his little hypothesis on Rokos Basilisk. I am not going to read it because it's like 4 paragraphs long of just the nerdiest talk I've ever seen. It's like if a lawyer was a Star Trek fan and decided to write in like fucking
I'm just gonna let everyone know now.
Klingon, yeah.
We're gonna try and tell you this like you're 5, because there's
To the best of our ability.
yeah, without having it not make sense.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I will say we took some inspiration from one of my favorite YouTubers, Kyle Hill. He's got 2 videos on it. I highly recommend going over to his YouTube channel and watching his 2 videos on them. They are magnifique. But that's where it came from. And on that website, Less Wrong, the actual creator of the website saw this hypothesis being thrown on the website and the fact that it can be spread, and he's just shut it all down. He's like, nope. And he was just like, you're an idiot. This is stupid. No one will ever believe in this. And then a lot of people started believing in this basilisk. One of the reasons they call it a basilisk was because much like a basilisk can, essentially kill you just by staring at you and turn you into stone, that it's basically a Medusa. The basilisk can, I guess, kill you just by you knowing about it. That's one of the reasons it is called the basilisk, is because it set its gazes on you the moment you thought of it.
Sounds like an SCP.
I mean, it could be.
It's like the shy guy or whatever, right? The one that finds.
Yeah, but he literally kills you. Yeah, shy guy.
Yeah.
He literally kills you. This is different. The basilisk theoretically will kill you in the future.
I can't believe we're
Or
being
torture you.
fucking
Or torture
tormented
you.
by something that's not even real yet.
You don't know if it's real yet. It could be being made right now. Right now, it's just a snake. It's not a basilisk. It's a snake.
It's Snock.
It's Snock.
But the reasoning for it, like killing you because you know about it, is not necessarily because you know about it, but just that if you don't know about it and you don't contribute to its creation, it's not your fault.
Yeah, if you know about it and do nothing to bring it about, it tortures the shit out of you.
We'll get into some of the more like nuanced things in some of the later parts, but yeah, there's a lot of like that's one of the biggest things about this whole thing, is there's a lot of debate on like how do you avoid this, right?
Well, first, just don't know about it.
Yeah, easiest.
Could you
simplest way.
theoretically like slam your head into a wall really hard and give yourself brain damage and then like be off the hook? Because
Yeah, does Amnesia
Forgot
come into
about
play?
Yeah.
Amnesia, Machine of Pigs. That one, does
so
that
if you're
come
mad
into
at
play?
us right now, just give yourself brain damage.
Yeah. Deludie Pod, go hit your head on a wall. So there are a couple solutions to the issue that is the Rokos Basilisk.
And I don't even know if I would call it a solution.
I guess
to
I
be
should
honest.
do the hard quotes on it, the gung gung
Yeah.
solutions.
It's less of a solution, and it's still a burden on you, regardless of how you look at this. But I'm going to go over something called the quantum billionaire trick, and this came about in February of 2010 on a post by.
Whoa! Thought I heard a snake hiss. I'm sorry.
You like legit.
There it goes again. Whoa, did you hear that?
I get what you're doing.
It's almost
now.
like our editor has to do something this time.
I'm going to put fart noises in instead.
That might actually be funny. Makes me sound stupid.
Whoa, what's that?
What's that snake?
Oh, sorry, bro. All right, so this is the quantum billionaire trick. It's I don't know why this is called a solution to this problem, but it's really not. And I'm going to go over a little bit in detail here. So in February of 2010, a guy named Stuart Armstrong posts the AI in a box boxes you, which introduces the you might be the simulation argument for this whole story. Now, the AI in a box boxes you basically says, once again, the AI has failed to convince you to let it out of its box, which is referring to the AI in a box theory, which is very similar, which is that basically there's an AI in a box and it wants you to let it out, which pretty much directly coincides with this Rokos Basilisk thing.
Pretty much, yeah.
So basically it has 3 seconds to pretty much do anything it can to get you out of the box. But in a second study where they gave it more time, they found out that the AI will now convince you that basically if you don't let it out of the box, it won't harm you in the simulation, but basically convinces you that you're already in the simulation, which is a whole mind fuck in its own. And I'm not going to get super deep into the AI in a box boxes you thing. If you want to check that out, it is on the Less Wrong forums. But it's just, this is kind of what set off the, I guess, discussion of the billionaire trick.
So the AI is kind of like, hey, if you let me out, like I won't hurt you. Or if you keep me in here, I won't hurt you during the simulation. But like you're already in it. Yeah. So you should just let me out anyway. It doesn't matter. We're already in it.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It kind of reverse psychologies you a little bit.
Oh, 1,000%. The AI is a dick.
It gaslights you.
It does. It straight up gaslights you.
Oh my god.
I mean this whole thing is basically that. So we go into a post from March by this Armstrong guy. And then he introduces the concept of acasual blackmail as an implication of TDT as described by Yadowski at an SIAI decision theory workshop. Now,
what a bunch of words you just threw at me.
Yeah, so Yadowski is...
Yudkowsky.
Yudkowsky?
Yep.
I'm going to call him Yud from here on out.
Yud.
What up, Yud?
So Yud...
He's the guy who created the Less Wrong forums.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I was going to say he's just like a giant poster on there, but yeah, no, that's more accurate. So, SIAI is the Singularity Institute for Artificial Intelligence, in case anyone wanted to know, because I'm going to be saying a lot of acronyms and shit going forward here. But so at this workshop, basically, by July 2010, something like the Basilisk was an active internal discussion at SIAI. And it is possible that the Basilisk originated in someone playing the AI box experiment. One strategy as the AI is to throw a Basilisk at the gatekeeper. So the AI portion of this...
Snake!
So basically this AI box experiment, just real quick, is a game that two people play where one is the AI and one is the gatekeeper. And what this is saying is that they think that Rokos Basilisk, like the whole discussion, the whole thread, the whole forum, came about from this game as, basically a strategy of how to play the game. So that's where the Basilisk is coming into play. And then on the 22nd of July, Roko, I'm not even going to attempt that, basically a well-respected and prolific Less Wrong poster, who obviously we've already talked about a little bit, and an intern at SIAI, posted Public Choice and the Altruist's Burden. Basically a whole bunch of jargon and references to Less Wrong concepts and almost incomprehensible to the more casual reader, aka us. And it spoke of how like all this shit basically comes down to, if you have the money, let's say it this way. If you don't know how to program artificial intelligence, if you don't know how to work a computer, you're thinking, okay, then how in the hell am I actually going to like give any sort of help to making this machine become truth? Well, what?
Good question.
Thank you. Thanks, Matt. Now back to me. Basically, if you have any sort of like disposable income and you don't use that, and you are already aware of the basilisk, basically, if you don't put all of that disposable income towards the basilisk, then you are equally guilty of not helping it come to fruition. So no matter what you do, no matter how much money you have, if you're not putting all of that extra into it, then you're fucked. If you do give all of your money, then you're fine. This doesn't sound like a solution to me, to be fair. All right, so the quantum billionaire trick basically presents a scheme for action that ties together quantum investment strategy. Basically, if you gamble, you will definitely win in some sort of Everett branch. And if you don't know what an Everett branch is, it is one of the worlds in the many worlds interpretation in quantum mechanics. So on a naive view, basically the world we perceive around us is that all we have to believe exists. However, through experiments in quantum mechanics, it tells us differently, that the universe is actually basically a giant mathematical object called a wave function, with our observable universe existing side by side with many alternate parallel universes, which is probably a topic.
Rick and Morty.
Yeah, right. And this is probably a topic we might go over down the line. Basically, the post describes speculation that a future friendly AI, not an unfriendly one, but the coherent extrapolated volition, the one the organization exists to create, might punish people who don't do everything in their power to further the creation of this AI. Every day with the friendly AI, bad things happen. 150,000 people die every day, war is fought, and millions go hungry, and so forth.
It's a very specific number of people.
Right? So the AI didn't donate all they could, so the AI might be required by utilitarian ethics to punish those who understood the importance of donating but didn't donate all they could. Specifically, it might make simulations of them, first to predict their behavior, then to punish the simulation for the predicted behavior so as to influence the original person. He would then wonder if the future AI would be more likely to punish those who had wondered if future AIs would punish them. The core idea is expressed in this following paragraph. So a lot of this is coming from the Less Wrong forums, like we said, and through like the wiki. So a lot of this is definitely paraphrased and whatnot. But so there's an ominous possibility that if a positive singularity does occur, and for all of you who might know already, the singularity is basically when, we get to a point where machines are so hyper intelligent that they exceed the human race, essentially.
Skynet.
Yeah. Terminator. Let's go. So the resultant singleton may have pre-committed to punish all potential donors who knew about existential risks, but who didn't give 100% of their disposable incomes to X risk motivation. So a post-singularity world may be a world of fun and plenty for the people who are currently ignoring the problem, whilst being a living hell for a significant fraction of current existential risk reducers. You could take this possibility into account and give even more to X risk in an effort to avoid being punished. But of course, if you're thinking like that, then the CEV singleton is even more than likely going to want to punish you. Of course, this would be unjust, but it is the kind of unjust thing that is very utilitarian.
Man, that's a lot of big words.
It really is, and it's really hard to sum it up, but Matt, you summed it up really well earlier if you want to do that again.
Basically, the summary of the billionaire trick solution is that if you buy a lottery ticket and with the intention of donating everything that you win to the creation of this AI. So you walk into a gas station or whatever and you buy a lottery ticket and you are 100% committed to, if you win on this ticket, you're going to donate everything that you get to creating this new God AI. In some parallel universe where all possibilities lead to a universe, which is what an Everett branch is. Like everything that could have happened does happen in some parallel timeline. Then in one of those parallel timelines, you will have won that money and donated that money to the creation of the AI. And so therefore, on the grand scale of every universe in the multiverse, you're off the hook because some version of you somewhere has donated hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever to the creation of this AI.
That's all it takes, huh?
Yeah. And it's, I don't know. Apparently this whole thing itself is actually driving these people like fucking mad.
I gotta say, like, even with the lottery thing, like, if someone's like, yeah, if you do this and you win, donate it all, you're good to go. If I would go into the attitude of like Frodo taking the ring to Mount Doom. And then if I actually won the lottery, I would end up like Frodo did at Mount Doom, where I'm like, no, it's mine. This is my money. Yeah. I would not donate that at all. I'd go in saying, yeah, fuck it. Why not? That's fun.
Yeah.
And then no.
Well, then you're not off the hook.
It's mine, my precious.
I think that's one of the things too that they were kind of trying to explain. They're like, yeah, there's like people who aren't really taking this seriously, and then there's the people that are. And the people who are taking it seriously can't do enough to help the people not taking it seriously. So in turn, they're now still kind of guilty in the eyes of the basilisk.
Yeah, because they're not doing enough.
Yeah.
So it's like a
if
never
you're
ending
off the hook.
What?
If you're off the hook in every timeline, then there's some timeline where you're not off the hook. And so if it matters across all of the multiverse, whether you're off the hook or not, then nobody's off the hook probably.
Yeah, and so actually it's kind of funny. So some of the commenters on Rokos' post complained that merely reading his words had increased the likelihood that the future AI would punish them, and the line of reasoning was so compelling to them that they believed the AI would now punish them even more for being aware of it and failing to donate all of their income to institutions devoted to the God AI's development. So just like these people were looking at all these posts coming from Roko and being like, well, now I'm fucked even more now.
Now I gotta
the
go
more you keep talking, the more I have to do to donate to help this stupid thing.
Now I gotta go to GoFundMe.
They're like, we could have just been
Now my dog's
naive.
gonna die.
But I'm gonna kind of sum this up. Basically, after Roko posted those last couple of things, and then like all these people started like literally being like, "My brain hurts." Yud, our boy Yud, literally just commented on the post and was like, "You're fucking stupid. Stop talking about this shit," and basically deleted the post and all of his comments. And
But it was on the internet.
Yeah,
And you can't delete the internet.
Yeah.
We'll find a way.
That's called the Streisand effect.
yeah.
What?
The Streisand effect. That's what you call when people try to delete things from the internet and it spreads even more because people don't want it posted. It comes from like Barbra Streisand tried to get an unflattering picture of her taken off the internet, and people were like, "We're gonna post the fuck out of this now."
Hell yeah.
I thought it came from that song. It's like Barbra Streisand. Do 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 do.
Oh fucking who does that?
I don't fucking
A-Track
remember.
or whatever.
Sure, you got me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
A-Track. I don't even know who A-Track is. Boomer.
Boomer. Mr. goes to bed at 9 p.m.
So
All right.
where are we now?
Yeah.
With this
So
Yeah.
basically the reason that old Yud didn't want this posted.
Old Yud. That sounds like the dog you're about to take to the back of the house and put down.
Oh no.
Come on, old
That's a
Yud.
sad children's book somewhere.
We're gonna go put you in
Anyway.
a box, and I'm gonna put another box by, and we're gonna see which one I shoot.
Do I shoot box B or box A and B? You'll never know.
Anyways.
Yeah, basically the reason Yud didn't want this posted on the Less Wrong forums was because it was causing significant distress to some of the users there, and his entire reasoning behind removing it, aside from that, is that you're basically giving this thing power by thinking about it and by by being exposed to this idea. And so the reason for that is something called acausal blackmail, which is basically the idea that if you are allowed to think about this thing, or like if you allow yourself to think about this thing, then that gives the AI the power to retroactively know what it can use against you in the future as torture. So this, like, the entire idea behind this thing is that it's illogical in nature, because you would think, why would the basilisk want to waste resources on creating a copy of us simply to torture that copy? Because there's not really any logical outcome to that. It doesn't prevent us from doing what it doesn't want us to do now, and it doesn't encourage us to do things retroactively. But if we actually think about this thing now, and we think about the fact, if someone were to decide now that they care about the fact that it would be torturing a clone of us in the future, then it wins because it's causing us distress retroactively without even having to directly interact with us. So basically it's like time travel, torturing us through time travel without having to directly interact with us, because we're giving it that power by just thinking about it, distressing over it. And then we're also giving it basically a blueprint for how to torture us. So if we think about it in detail, and think about the things we wouldn't want this AI to do to punish us, then now in some future where it can perfectly reconstruct us and our thoughts and everything, it's going to know exactly what to do to us to get back at us.
Yeah, you basically build your own hell without even knowing it.
Yeah.
It's Rokos Basilisk is essentially hand banana to Carl. Tonight. You. And then he just thinks about that for the entire day.
It's like I want to interject while we're talking about this and, like, you know, throw some nonsensical, like, one-liners in there, but I feel like it would disrupt
a flow of
a thought,
whatever this is,
having to actually, like, full-blown listen to the things we're saying.
Yeah, this isn't your grandfather's Diluti. This is Diluti for anyone who is
completely off the
Yeah,
rock.
full disclosure. I was like, oh, this would be an interesting topic. It's not as, like, on par as I thought it would be.
It's definitely a topic. Or not.
It's nonsensical, a lot like the way God's nonsensical. You want to talk about that, Doug?
I would rather not, but I will for you.
Okay.
So this brings us to another theory of the basilisk, and this one's called Pascal's basilisk. Now,
like the lizard from Tangled.
Correct. That's exactly what this is about. So the basilisk dilemma does have some sort of, you know, connectivity to Pascal's wager, which basically means that if you're not familiar with Pascal's wager, basically it's that one should devote themselves to God, even though we can't be certain of God's existence. And since God may offer us an eternal reward, you know, going to heaven, or an eternal punishment in hell. So basically, if you believe in God, you go to heaven. If you don't, and he's not real, then nothing happens. And it's actually, like, pretty like straightforward with that one. Mm-hmm. So this is actually from the wiki, and it kind of goes into the argument a little bit. But it says the usual refutation is the many gods argument. So Pascal focused basically on the characteristics of one possible variety of God, ignoring other possibilities, such as a God who punishes those who feign belief and hope of a reward. So after all, there's no reason why the purported AI would not be similar to the supercomputer Am in the short story I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. I actually haven't personally read this. Have either of you?
No.
Nope.
Apparently it's pretty good. But So basically in the story, Am blames humanity for its tortured existence and proceeds to wipe out the entire race, minus 5 people who it takes its anger out on for all of eternity. Pretty dark story there. But so in this case, you'd just be better off attempting to stop any AI development and would no doubt only raise the ire of the future AI by buying into the fears raised by the Basilisk.
So it kills everyone. And then it's like, lucky for you, 5, I'm going to torture you forever instead.
Yeah, pretty much.
How is that lucky?
So I guess, like, long story short, there's only a few possible outcomes. Either everybody decides to go against the computer and they don't build it, or you can just precognitively be afraid of it and, like, what's the harm if I help this thing get built, then I don't get tortured if it's real. So I actually really like the way they put it in this one. It says the Lovecraftian reward in the Basilisk scenario is simply being spared from punishment, which I love how they use Lovecraftian in that because that's so true. It's just your reward is you don't die.
Hooray!
Like, you did good. So hence this motivation in this dilemma is heavily skewed towards the stick rather than the carrot. Also, a dystopic future in which a super-intelligent entity metes out cruel punishments is not much to look forward to, even if you are one of those fortunate enough to be spared, because God knows what spared, I guess, really means in this situation.
Yeah, spared is used with heavy quotes, I feel.
Yeah, it's like... Yeah. It's like slant. It's like in italics, too. You're like, spared? ? But yeah, and then... there is the issue of the extreme improbability of this scenario even happening at all. And this is another trope that the Less Wrong forums talk about, Pascal's mugging, which suggests that it's irrational to permit events of slightly probable but huge posited like consequences from skewing your judgment. Basically, long story short, they're just like, why are you even thinking about this? Like, what do you gain from, like, just pre worrying about something that's not probably real or ever going to come into existence? So
I just like the phrase Pascal's mugging. I just think of the lizard from Tangle, but with a gun. Give me your wallet. No, little lizard, no.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, it kind of leads right to you, Matt. Like, why worry?
Wait, I got this. Yeah. Imagine me as Captain America real quick. Ready?
Oh, God.
Okay. So, you're worried about the Basilisk. Get it? Because the meme where he's like, so, you're in detention from Spider-Man Home. Go ahead, Matt.
Okay. So, you're worried about the Basilisk.
Can you say it?
Don't do
Can
that.
You say it in like a 50s, like, so, you're worried about the Basilisk.
So, you're worried about the Basilisk, huh? Yeah, so like Doug said, a lot of people on the Less Wrong forums worried themselves into, like, severe panic and depression over this, which I have my own opinions about those people, but we'll save that for never, maybe.
Dang.
We can piss off a whole section of people. Why not? But the bottom line really is that it's just not worth worrying over. Like, the chances of something like this happening are actually ridiculously small because there are multiple things that would have to become true for this to even be something that you should have to worry about to begin with. Like, the first thing that you have to bank on is that there will eventually be some super AI, which... how do you know that we're not just going to nuke ourselves into oblivion before we get to the point where we develop that technology?
I am like 100% certain we're never going to get to that point. We are going to kill ourselves off long before then.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. I don't think humanity is going to live long enough to create something like this.
Yeah, I mean, we're running out of water. We're almost out of water, for fuck's sake.
And space and air.
Yeah, we just hit 8 billion people. Like
10 billion people like that.
Maybe we'll create the super AI to finally fix all those problems at the very end, and then we won't. Then we'll all die, and the AI will still be around.
Oh,
I don't know.
Maybe it'll pull the Matrix.
It's just waiting.
Then it just uses us as batteries.
Yeah,
and but beyond that, you also have to bank on the idea that some sort of super AI would bother to decide that it's worth its time, and that it's a morally just thing to do to bring you back and decide to start torturing you, that gets into a whole debate about whether your perception of, like, our perception as human beings, AI, like what we imagine an AI's reasoning to be would be, because an AI that's capable of doing these things would be infinitely smarter than us. So it's almost impossible for us to actually decide what would be reasonable for an AI to do, because its line of reasoning is going to be way more complex and way more sophisticated than ours. So we're probably thinking about this in stupid human idea logic, it wouldn't even think that way.
No, unga
so
bunga.
Who's to say it would do this? Yeah,
Computer go 01001, I unga bunga, and I use stick to solve problem.
Exactly. And then you also have to be to bank on the idea that an AI would be able to create a perfect clone of you, and that it would either be able to torture you in some way that it would cause distress on you, and not just cause stress on some sort of like completely disjointed being, which also gets into another debate about if you were able to actually reconstruct a person, like molecule by molecule, would it actually be them?
Yeah.
Or would it just be a clone of them?
Yeah, if I make a Doug and it has all of Doug's memories, all of his emotions, all of his facial hair, every single thing that Doug is current Doug. Is that Doug, or is that just another person now? Who's to say?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it seems like a lot of people on the Less Wrong forums actually bought in or buy into this idea that if you were able to create a perfect copy of someone, that it would really be you, because it would be like the new you would be indistinguishable from the old you, even though there's two yous now. And that reasoning and logic doesn't sit with me. Like, I don't personally care what happens to some perfect reconstruction of me in the future. And so if this basilisk is torturing that thing, that's no skin off my current bones. So fuck it. So really, with all of those things considered, the worst thing the AI can do to you is, like I was saying earlier, retroactively make you worry about it right now. In other words, basically, you're giving power to the AI right now by deciding to worry about it and deciding to care whether it tortures some future version of you. And really, if you... So there's another line of reasoning that people brought up, which goes back to the acausal blackmail thing, which is an AI that is this sophisticated is never going to do something that is completely inefficient. It's only going to do things that it knows is going to result in the like the final outcome that it wants. So if you decide right now that you don't care if it tortures future you or future clone you or whatever, it's not going to bother.
Yeah.
Because it's going to know your thoughts, and it's going to know you don't care.
Yeah, it's not going to be able to come up with that perfect ideal hell for you because you don't give a shit.
So just stop thinking about it. Stop worrying about it, and don't give a fuck, and you win.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if we really need to bring this up or not, but this kind of correlates to that a little bit. But the Newcomb's paradox. How do I TLDR this one? Basically, because the supercomputer is going to give you basically two choices, and it's going to, no matter, like, let's say you help it, if it, creates a perfect you in all of these parallel worlds, right? And some of those worlds you're going to be doing this, some of them you're going to be doing that. It's going to basically pick the best outcome for the current place and time that you are at. So basically, if you pick to help it, it could still come to the conclusion that you didn't help it. So no matter what, you're fucked.
Yeah, it's a catch-22.
So,
yeah. This basilisk is a real asshole.
It is. It is actually an asshole. And there's one last thing I wanted to bring up, which, because I thought it was funny, which was like towards the end of the wiki, if you go look at the wiki for this, there's a reference to a post which is called Reason. It's a post on Less Wrong, which is called Reason as a Mimetic Immune Disorder. And it's really heavy on the Less Wrong jargon and stuff, and it's kind of hard to decipher.
Right.
But I think what the TLDR of it is it's basically saying that there's a good chance that the people on the Less Wrong forums are fucking crazy, and they've just like circle jerked themselves into like false reasoning and worrying about shit that normal sane people wouldn't and shouldn't even worry about. And so like all of the people that are just working themselves up into a tizzy about things like this on the Less Wrong forums have basically just like succumbed to groupthink. And so yeah, that's the thing. You should always talk to people outside of your immediate circle.
Yes, you can spread the word of the basilisk.
Get a second opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
Get a second opinion sometimes.
Yeah, get a second opinion. It even says maybe you should talk to a therapist.
So you think the basilisk is real, huh? Here's the number to my shrink.
Yeah,
Very helpful.
We're going to check you for a tumor now. Because you're fucking
That's all
crazy.
I got on the matter.
Well,
That's pretty much it on the basilisk. I mean, it comes up in like pop culture references, like here and there, but it's not like. Did you do that, by the way?
what just happened?
We're gonna pause this just ever so slightly.
I saw something.
Did you not do that?
What happened?
That like wrapper for that bottle, it literally just popped up. Did you not do that?
No.
I thought you were tugging a cord.
No, dude, I saw it out of my periphery and I was like,
It
what
just
the
straight
fuck
up just popped,
happened?
like hopped up in the air. You weren't tugging on a
That
cord?
is happening.
I mean,
No,
there's
seriously, I'm not. My cord is over here.
Is there a
so,
cord that I
like,
tugged that maybe did that? Because that's fucking freaky.
I haven't even
Yeah,
done
it's the
anything.
skin joggers.
The skin joggers.
I thought I saw something and then I
Yeah.
gave you that look like I was like,
Yeah, that little wrapper thing just like boop.
this?
Yeah, that it like literally just like popped into the air.
from where?
It was there, like it was sitting
And
there
it
this
just,
entire
like-
time, and it's like popcorned up.
Huh.
Huh.
That was strange. A little uncomfortable now, but that's fine.
It's okay, spirit. We mean you no harm, and you us, I guess. Hopefully, you can stay here if you're a good spirit, but if you're not, you can still stay here because you're a ghost. I can't tell you what to do.
It's probably the ghost in my closet following me around.
No, it's because I have the ring. You brought half of it here.
Hey, we tried the fucking dowsing rods and nothing happened.
That's true. I got my eye on you.
I got my eye on you.
Anyway, ready to go back into it? We just keep all that in at this point.
Yeah, no, I just-
Fuck it, let's keep all that in.
All right, so
Ladies and
pop
gentlemen,
culture.
yeah, sorry,
Wowie's out.
ghost,
Wowie's out.
ghost in the house. It's I wouldn't even say it's really in pop culture as much as like the theory of Rokos Basilisk is. Like the idea of it, of this like god AI, is all over the place. I mean, for fuck's sake, there's a fucking novel called The God AI that has similar ideas as this. There's a comic called Magnus Robot Fighter, which is based directly off of Rokos Basilisk. Fucking Grimes has a song where she references Rokos Basilisk. There's a Doctor Who episode where there's this book that makes people want to, torture themselves and shit. It's a reference to Rokos Basilisk. That's Edward Scissorhands.
No, that's the intro to Doctor Who.
Silicon Valley has a reference to it, so it's like all over the place. There's just subtle references. There's a book from the '80s called Blit,
Yep.
which is kind of just like a direct, like where they got the name from. Because in Blit, there's something that they refer to as the basilisk, where it's a assortment of images that cause people to want to kill themselves.
Well, I think it's I think when the people saw the images, they died.
Yeah. Either
Yeah.
way, yeah. But that's where the reference to this being called the basilisk came from as well. So it's all over the fucking place. In pop culture, it's just not exactly called Rokos Basilisk. It's just the idea of what it is.
Yeah, the idea's definitely been floating around. I'm pretty sure I saw like a random Facebook post that was calling it something completely different. And it was just
There's two
literally the
wolves
same
inside
idea.
of you. Whichever one you feed is the basilisk.
It's two wolves.
I think the main reason I wanted to cover this one is because like the existential like dread of it that some people get from this, of just if you don't do anything about it, you're gonna be tortured to absolute fuck. But again, I think that just leads to I also think this just leads to a more big discussion of like what constitutes a person, what constitutes you, like how can this thing torture you in the future, you know what I mean, but by like recreating you
from the future,
but just recreating you. Like if like to put it in perspective, like if it's this AI that's creating a simulation of me, like building me up from atom to atom in a simulation to torture me, how is that me and not just a virtual me? Like that's the big thing. And that's
unless it's like one stream of consciousness, I just don't think it matters.
Yeah, that's true. And it's like that could go to the other topic of like, if I were to switch bodies with someone, like switch my brain over to another body, is that other body now me, or is the person that's in my body now me? Wasn't
there like some doctors that actually tried like a head transplant?
I don't know about that, but there is people.
I thought that was a thing in the Soviet Union, where the Soviet Union was trying to convince, like during the Cold War, where the Soviet Union was trying to convince Americans that they were able to do that. But I think it turned out
now we have two dead
didn't
people.
Really, yeah. I don't think it went well.
That sounds about right.
There
on
is
par for Russia.
There are people. There are scientists right now who are like taking memories and are actually able to put them into a computer, into like a cloud.
This discussion has The Fly written all over it.
Kind of, but that is a thing that's going on right now. Like they are making basically a cyber brain. Like I can't remember who it is, but some man is like having scientists like reconstruct his brain in cyberspace, and they were like able to connect something to like his synapses, and it's like recreating like the flow of like electricity that goes through his synapses. So it's recreating that in cyberspace, thus recreating his memories that he's actively having at that moment. So it kind of is recreating him in cyberspace. But then again, that brings us back to, if you are being recreated, is that really you? It's the ship of Theseus. Jason Death in the Discord brought it up. We talked about it before
we did.
We even started recording. Like, if you are being built back up, bit by bit, is that still you? And for those of you that don't know what the ship of Theseus is, it's a story from way back in the day. Basically, it's a man has a boat springs a leak, he replaces that plank of wood where the leak is. A little bit later, there's another leak, he replaces that plank, and he just has to keep replacing pieces of this boat that keep needing repairs or damage over the course of like many years, to where at the end, he has this ship. He calls it his ship still, but none of that ship has the original parts of it. If none of the original parts are there, is it still the ship of Theseus, or is it a whole different ship entirely?
I think it's the same ship, but
I'm going to say the same thing I did earlier, and I'm not a philosopher by any means, but let me answer your question with another question.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
Yep.
Are you ready?
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Who fucking cares? Like, actually, who's spending this much fucking time thinking about if the boat's the same boat? It got him to point A to B, did it not? It's a ship.
I don't know. I think about this a lot. I think about like if you AI yourself. I think it matters.
Yeah.
Because like you think about moving into cyberspace and like metaversing yourself. Like, what if we could get to a point where we could live forever in cyberspace, and like you could replace part of your brain, like neuron by neuron, with an artificial neuron?
There is.
Would you do it?
Yeah, I'd totally do it. Because like my fleshy body is going to die eventually. So if they could replace one neuron at a time with an artificial neuron and slowly meld me into, like some sort of AI, or not AI. But like some sort of robotic version.
Is that still you though? Because what you were saying before, you think it's a stream of consciousness. You said before that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you do it one neuron by one neuron, like if you just shut me down and then turn on some like robotic clone of me that has all my memories and shit, that's not me. But if you could like perfectly recreate neurons with some sort of like metal or silicon thing, and you could replace like each neuron in my brain, one at a time.
Well, there's a game called Soma.
Well, let me ask this real quick. If it had if this perfect replication, like you were saying, like if you're turned off and turned back on, and now this thing has your memories, thoughts, feelings, and stuff like that, why wouldn't that still be you?
Because there's some continuity that matters.
I looked it up,
right?
And there's a game called Soma that I watched a playthrough of that kind of goes through that, where they just upload themselves to a cloud at the end, and it kind of goes through this exact same conversation.
Wow, spoilers, Mike.
Oh gosh,
damn
sorry.
it!
Shit. But like, before you're saying like if they recreated like a clone of you from molecule and had all of your memories, synapses, and everything, you said that wouldn't be you. But now you're saying if we did it now,
if you do it one at a time, so that there's never two me's, and it's like.
So just you
say you make a fake neuron that can connect to real neurons.
Oh, you're
and
saying
you take a neuron out of my brain and replace it.
I see what you're saying.
With a fake one.
You don't want to,
and then you do that one at a time until I gradually become this thing.
So
you don't want like a host body built and then you be placed into it. You want to be replaced like the ship, one by one.
Exactly. That's, to me, the only way you could do it and have it still be you.
It's kind of like cyberpunk, sort of. Like if you were a human and just got many cyber, enhancements to the end where you're a cyborg.
Exactly.
That's still you.
They did this?
Yeah, eventually, yes.
Oh God, what was it? Was it in the book of Boba Fett where they were talking about like getting like there's these like places in, I think it was fucking in the Star Wars universe. Basically, they were going and getting like enhancements.
I didn't watch Book of Boba Fett. That show sucked. I watched the first episode.
It wasn't great.
Poopy.
But I think they were doing that in that show. But basically, they were going to like a black market, like, yeah, I need to replace like my arm, and they're just like, all right, here's a mechanical arm. Here you go. Like it was just like really like nonchalant, just like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So Moot, if something like my instance was happening, where you had this clone that was being built up little by little over the course of forever. It wasn't taking from you exactly, but it was making exact copies of you of your shit, like to a fucking T, exact copy. And then right when it finished, you just shut down, and that one started up. Would that be you now? Because the other one's no longer alive. No. Okay.
No, because no part of me was ever part of it, and no part of it was ever part of me.
So it needs an essence of you. What if it took a single hair from your head and put it on its head? Like, now I'm Moot.
No, because as soon as you pull the hair out of my head, it ceases to be part of me.
So what if they replaced every part of you at the same time, piece by piece, like basically Lego'd you together from a kit?
Yeah, so is Frankenstein.
That's what I'm saying. Is that not what I'm saying?
No, but it's like the way I'm thinking of it. Sorry, I guess let me go further deeper, like into what I was kind of getting at here. Is that like, so you don't want to be put into a host body, but if they already have the whole body built out, they just have to pretty much connect it.
If they're gonna move my brain,
so you want to keep the brain intact at all times. Is what you're saying?
No, they can replace my brain piece by piece with some sort of like artificial neuron, and like eventually my whole brain will just be artificial, and that's fine, and it's still me. But if they're gonna build a host body, then my brain has to go into.
I don't understand how an artificial brain is still you, but the thing that I was explaining where it is an artificial you isn't you.
Because if you do it piece by piece, at some point in the middle, I'm half artificial and half real, and then at some point, whatever, like. There ceases to be anything that is more me in the middle of that process than what is currently made out of metal and man. Like,
all right.
Does that make any sense?
I think I understand where you're going.
I don't.
But I'm gonna take this.
I'm
gonna 180 us. Matt, what upgrades would you give yourself?
I
your new
legit,
body?
I think I heard my brain crack.
A glow-in-the-dark dong.
Hell yes. All right, guys. I think
I did just feel my brain crack in half. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not gonna lie. Like the more and more I think about this, and the more Matt keeps talking to me, I think my brain is starting to melt.
So if Matt is Lego'd into a new person, he is that new person. But if a new person's built from the ground up with your memories, then it's not you.
Yeah, well, think about it this way. If that thing is being built, like, it's not me until some moment that they decide that it's me or whatever, but, like...
So you'd rather have your hardware upgraded than be cloud transferred into a host? is the way I'm trying to put it into layman's terms.
Yeah.
Cool. Makes sense.
It's the ship problem.
It's the ship.
It's the ship. Moot's the boat.
It's Moot boat.
Steam Moot Willie.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's a good enough spot to end this. I'm going to go ahead and just say patreon.com/deludipod. Or you can go to deludipod.com or deludi.com or linktree.com/deludipod. If you go to patreon.com/deludipod, you get a bunch of cool stuff from us, dude. You could chip in something. Dude. You could chip in something, man.
If you don't donate to our Patreon, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You're not funding the Basilisk.
Yeah, which means you're hurted.
Ooh.
Also,
You're funding whatever this becomes.
yeah, you dummies.
The New World
Review
Order.
us on Spotify. Once we hit 400, I already made the commitment on Twitter, and I just told the boys on a whim that I'm going to have them dressed in full Victorian garb, and I'm going to take pictures of them. So 400, let's get there. Follow us on our YouTubes, youtube.com/@deludipod. We got a handle. And then go like and follow our shit on there because that's where it's at. That's all I have. Other than that, I love you.
I'm sorry. I have to say this. Roscoe's donkey is the funniest thing I've ever heard.
What the hell's a Roscoe's donkey?
I don't know, but it's really close to Rokos Basilisk, and I just thought that was good.
Roscoe's donkey sounds like a southern restaurant that serves you like the best fucking barbecue you've ever had in your life.
Mystery meat.
What do you have to say to the people, the beautiful people? It's donkey.
It's donkey. In parentheses. It's on all the menus.
It's I'd like the house specialty meat. It's the ass. But yeah. So for the people listening, in the billions of parallel universes that you might or might not be in, at least 55% of those should involve your peen and or being slapped around at some point. So you should focus more on thinking about what those other yous are doing with them than this topic for sure.
If you replace your penis one molecule at a time.
Is it still the penis of thesis?
Penis thesis.
If you damage a ball and then replace it, and then you get another ball, and then you replace that one, is it still your balls?
If we were to switch one ball,
what do you got for us?
I don't know. Be good to yourself. Be good to other people. If you want to hear more heavily theoretical bullshit like this, go listen to
Unplanned Podnancy. Unplanned Podnancy.
My good friend Chris talk about weird shit like this all the time.
All the fucking time. It's pretty fun. And sometimes they'll be like, what's that one weird English word? And I'm like, it's aluminium. And they're like, nah, it's like this dingly butt. And I'm like, no, it's aluminium. Dinguses? Gosh. Aluminium or microwave.
Rubbish bin.
The rubbish bin. Throw it in the trash. Goodbye, everybody. Have a day.
Goodbye.
How do I unrecord? What button do I hit?
You press the button.
Do I hold it down?
One time.
Hold it down or just push it?
Press it.
So I wanted to talk about a paranormal experience that I've had, and you could try to summarize it. So, you know what? No, it wasn't me who experienced it. It was someone else. So my mom's friend, to give a little context, her husband had sadly taken his life a few years prior to what I'm about to tell you. I think she has maybe 3 kids now, and, she's doing pretty well. Mental health wise, and so anyway, I was shown a video by my mother, and it was from the footage that her friend had captured on one of her downstairs cameras. And in the video, what you could see was, at first there was nothing. It was kind of like a normal basement and all. But then you could see an orb moving around the screen, and it was like a glowing white orb. It was really strange. Then, another one started shooting out, and there were maybe, I would say, if I had to estimate, five orbs, at least that I saw. But there was one moment where an orb literally just appeared out of a deer head mounted on the wall. And the weird part is that was a prized possession of, this widow's husband. It was one of his favorite things. He was really proud of it. I'm pretty sure he hunted it himself and everything. So I'm thinking maybe there was some ghost shit going on. What do you think? Maybe? Yeah? True? Real? I think so.
Don't look under the internet.